just the heart. I just play like there's no tomorrow.
Hmm.
I got a lot of family and stuff that they rely on me. So each game means something to me. It's something that's inside of me. Once I cross those white lines, right as I'm stretching, I'm locked in. I don't care. There's no jokes. There's no nothing. It's just me versus you.
Welcome to another episode of Preferred Walk On. I'm your host, Max Chadwick. We've got another interview for you guys today. If you haven't already, check out the series of interviews that I've done so far and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a future interview because we have plenty in the chamber right now, some of the biggest superstars in college football. And here's another one right now. Kingsley Suamataia, the offensive tackle from BYU, former five-star recruit who, like his older cousin Penei Sewell, started his career at Oregon, then after his true freshman season transferred over to BYU, and he was stellar at right tackle for the Cougars this past season. He had an 80.9 pass blocking grade this past year. He didn't allow a single sack all year either on nearly 340 pass blocking snaps. Now he moves over to left tackle, filling in for Blake Freeland, who's now with the Indianapolis Colts. And Suamataia is my number 10 returning offensive tackle in college football, and he was a first-round pick in my way too early 2024 NFL mock draft. So make sure you check out that video if you haven't already. And of course, check out the feature article I did on Kingsley over at pff.com. And a major thank you to the executive producer of the show, the guy who sets up every single one of these interviews, Dave Sofaro, also the head of creative content and communications at PFF. And we have plenty of more interviews to come. So like I said before, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single one. But without further ado, here he is, BYU offensive tackle, Kingsley Suamataia. So the first question I want to ask you, dude, so coming out of high school, you were this five-star recruit, one of the best players in the country, honestly. When did you know that you're like, hey, I'm better than everyone on the field right now, and maybe I can make a career out of football?
Free. It's probably I don't know. It's probably like my sophomore year. Probably my freshman year, honestly, in high school. When all the attractions started coming in eighth grade, and just putting in more work in every year, try to do more than I did last year, and then just seeing going and competing with all these kids and from down in the East Coast, the West Coast, down in the South, and just seeing that I could compete with them, it just made myself. I just knew I could make it somewhere.
Absolutely, man. So you spent 1 year at Oregon before you transferred to BYU. What made you want to enter the portal, and ultimately, what made you decide on BYU?
It was a no-brainer for me. There's a lot of schools that hit me up, probably more than my offer list that I had out of high school, honestly. And but it took a lot of thought and prayer, especially talking with my family. And I just need to come home, be around my family, be around my religion, Church of Jesus Christ. So just being around stuff that I value, and this was a school, so I knew I had to come back home.
Absolutely, man. So then what do you think you learned? So this year you played right tackle. What do you think you learned most in your first year starting in college football and specifically starting at right tackle?
Definitely the speed. The speed of college football is different from high school. Just being out there, and not me not playing that much at Oregon, but just being on the field all 12 games is pretty crazy. Just the speed of the game and how fast things actually moves, instead of watching it. So, oh yeah.
That for sure, man. And then I would say you handled the speed pretty well, man. You were an amazing pass protector this past season. What do you try to focus on the most when you're in pass pro?
Just what they're like. There's different tendencies. I watch a lot of film. The
Mm-hmm.
week before, weeks out, like 3 weeks out before I play the opponent. So, as soon as one game ends, I gotta watch the next one already. But probably the tendencies that each defense has. Because there's some guys that can this like show it and not show it as good as others. Some
Mm-hmm.
can play better than others. So it's just the tendencies that each defense has and who's their strengths players.
Yeah, for sure, man. And one thing that I love whenever I watch your tape, one thing I love seeing you do is you get out in space and you just absolutely blow up dudes out in space. Is that something that you really enjoy? Is getting out there and facing linebackers and defensive backs on those zone runs like that?
No, yeah, most definitely. Love the DNs and stuff, but when our coaches trusted in both tackles and just letting us be out in space and making big blocks for our running backs and our wide receivers and just putting trust in us, knowing that we could do stuff out of our ability. So it's cool being out there.
Do you pride yourself a little bit on having kind of like a mean streak when you're out in the field?
Oh, most definitely. I gotta let the little guys know that it's not a joke right here.
I love that, man. I'd be terrified of you if I was a DB out there and I saw a 78 coming my way. But what do you think separates you, man, from other tackles around college football?
Probably everyone has work ethic, but just the heart. I just play like there's no tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of family and stuff that they rely on me. So each game means something to me. It's something that's inside of me. Once I cross those white lines, right as I'm stretching, I'm locked in. I don't care. There's no jokes. There's no nothing. It's just me versus you. Just the heart I have, the way I play.
Dude, you're making me run through a brick wall right now, man. I fucking love that. But so one thing I want to ask you, obviously your teammate Blake Freeland is gone. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but are you sticking at right tackle this year or are you flipping over to left side?
I'm left side.
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
man. Hell yeah. I can't wait to watch that. That'll be a lot of fun. So, yeah, speaking of Blake Freeland, now obviously with the Colts now, he was a phenomenal offensive tackle alongside you last season. What was your relationship like with him, and what do you think he'll bring to Indianapolis?
Oh, he brings a lot of athleticism. There's one thing about our line last year and this year is athleticism. We can all move. Blake, you already saw he broke the record for the vertical jump, so he can jump out the gym. And
Mm-hmm.
him being that big, like 6'8.5", like just being that big, having the stature and all the abilities that you want in the tackle, he has it. So he's bringing a lot of athleticism. That's all I know.
Yeah, he's a freak, man. I think you are too. And right now, I don't know if you pay attention to any of this, but a lot of way too early mock drafts for next year. You are a first round pick in those mock drafts, including my own that I came out with. Have you kind of heard any of that hype, and what does that mean to you being talked about in such a high regard like that?
I mean, I try to stay off of and I just focus on who's ahead of me, who's in front of me, who's two ahead, who like that stuff. But I just look once and I see who's ahead of me, so it just means more to me. Every workout I do, every recovery thing I do, just trying to be the best. Like
Who are
I
who
don't
are
really pay attention to all the mock draft stuff and that stuff though.
I love that dude. Who do you think is ahead of you? Like who do you see the people ahead of you? Who are you trying to focus on surpassing them in your eyes?
A lot of good players. There's the tackle from Penn State, and then there's a tackle from Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Those two, and the one from Bama. All
Yes.
great, yeah, all great players. But got a little bit more experience, but it's cool. But got to put my head down as a youngin and just work.
Hell yeah, man. I love that. So, you don't want to talk about the NFL yet, but is there any tackles in the NFL that you try to model your game after? Or maybe you compare to yourself a little bit? Is anyone that you love watching on Sundays and try to take something from their game and implement it into your own game?
Most definitely. Right now, my cousin Panay Sewell, he's the seventh overall pick in the draft pick last year,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 years ago, and but he's one of the best tackles in the league right now, and he's young, only 22 years old, out there starting at right tackle. Just the way he plays, that's the way I watched him from out when I was little in high school. Like once he crosses that line, he's just a whole different person. Like you can't even tell the difference who he is. Then after, it's fun and game, but watching him play because he's really athletic for being how big he is and he can move. You saw
Mm-hmm.
they even threw him the ball that one play, but him, I like watching the Niners tackles. Joe
Yep.
Staley's one I watched back. Still watch Joe Staley's film. Shoot, there's a lot of guys that still watch Whitworth.
Mm-hmm.
From the Rams. There's still a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that I watch. They all have different stuff from run game to pass game to their different IQs. So it just takes from a little bit from everybody and make it my way, how I can do it best.
You mentioned Sewell before, man. I mean, he was an absolute superstar at Oregon. Now, obviously, a superstar in the NFL. What was your relationship? Do you have? Has he kind of like mentored you a little bit as you begin this process of becoming an NFL draft prospect yourself and becoming one of the top tackles in college football?
Most definitely, he's been a huge impact. He trained me from all the way when I was in high school, um, before high school, junior high, all the way to high school to college, even now. I got to do some off training with him, so it's just it's good getting work for him and just seeing the different stuff that he sees, so I could pick up on that stuff too.
Love that, dude. So one question I want to ask you, one question I love asking every offensive lineman is, say I'm an NFL general manager, or say I'm a coach or a fan or whoever, and I go, all right, man, show me who you are in one play. What is the block that you're going to turn on your tape and say, this is who I am. This is probably the best block I've ever made in my career so far.
Shoot, it's probably Arkansas.
Yep.
Arkansas. It was 2nd and 12, and we ran right zone to the right. And I just took this dude. I threw him outside of the sideline. Like I drove him all the way to our bleachers, and that's the play that just from there on. I just took off from there.
I love that, man. That was literally one of the ones I was going to bring up to you too. If you like couldn't think of anything, I was like, man, that Arkansas one where you threw him out the club was pretty insane.
Oh yeah.
So what's your relationship like with your head coach, Kalani Sitake? Obviously, he's a phenomenal head football coach. He's really done well with the trenches, both offensive and defensive, so far at BYU. What's your relationship like with your head coach?
That's close. I'm close with all my coaches. But Kalani is it's just like having a family relative. He's like my uncle. So it's just being walking down the hall and just having jokes and stuff. But he knows when to keep it serious and stuff. It's just cool having somebody like that. Understands the moods and stuff when we can laugh and stuff. But it's just a nice feeling having family all around. From our defensive line coach, Coach Yane Pahua, to my coach Funk, my online coach. It just feels like I'm at home. I can just be myself around everybody.
I love that, man. So obviously you go from one NFL quarterback in Jaron Hall to maybe another potential one now in your transfer, Keaton Slovis. What have been your first impressions of Keaton Slovis, and what do you think of your past quarterback, Jaron Hall, too, as he begins his NFL career?
Shoot, Jaren's off to a great start. I love playing with Jaren. Just it's just he's always positive. We just go out there and he said give him some time. We give him some time. He does what he does. It's not open. He'll scramble. It's hard to catch him. He's really fast. So, but it was cool playing with Jaren. Just a veteran. Having that older brother figure, literally, like he was just always there for everybody and just keeping everything positive and stuff. And then Keaton came in because we didn't know who our quarterback was going to be. Honestly, everybody we were scrambling for seeing who our quarterback was going to be, if Jaren was going to stay or not. And then Keaton came in, and I can tell you that boy can sling the ball. He can throw the ball like nothing, just sit back there, boom, gone. But just the way how precision he is with throwing the ball and just reading our defense and slicing it up out there, it's pretty cool. Just being able to block for all these good quarterbacks, especially blocking for our running backs. So I'm just excited for both sides of the ball, honestly.
Absolutely, man. So how does your mentality change from pass blocking to run blocking?
I don't think there is one. Just I think of my pass pro just as pass pro. It got to be more mindful because just seeing the different tendencies because they can do more moves. Run block, he's in front of me. I'm in front of him. Is basically who got the nuts to drive the other person. Who's gonna win their battle basically. But pass pro is obviously different because they can do more than one move and run straight. But other than that, there's nothing really different.
So it sounds like you enjoy run blocking a little more then.
I don't know. It's cool because I like seeing what the defensive lineman can come up with on defense. Honestly, it's a mind game. So I do this, you do that. If I do this, what are you gonna do? So it's cool playing games with them and stuff. But it's cool.
I love that, man. Who do you think are the best D linemen that you've faced so far in your career?
Notre Dame, Arkansas, Notre Dame. Oh, I can't remember it. Like Forsky or something like that. He got
Isaiah Foskey. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fast. He's a fast one. Yeah, he was a veteran too. It was nice going against him. 99 also, big boy from Notre Dame,
Mm-hmm.
99. Yeah, he was like 6'7", but he was a big guy. Let's see. Arkansas had a couple good pass rushers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Stanford, yeah.
Yeah.
They Stanford number 15, I think. But yeah, he was a really good player.
Love that, dude. Are there any D linemen as you look at the schedule? I know you said before you look weeks ahead at who you're playing against. Are there any D linemen that you're kind of like circling already as you look at the schedule for next season?
Almost definitely. Texas, everybody, honestly. Kansas State, they all have good DNs.
Mhm.
Everybody, they were gonna go against Arkansas, get a rematch them again. So yeah, honestly, everybody, they all have good edge rushers. But yeah, it's gonna be good.
So I was gonna bring that up too, man. I mean, you guys are joining the Big 12 this upcoming season. Are you kind of excited now to be playing in like Power Five schedule almost every single game?
No, yeah, it's good. Good competition every week. There's no rest days. There's no we can not like it's like that, but it's like we're playing a good team every game. You got to bring your A1 every day. So it's going to be good. Everybody's got to work even harder. We're definitely the underdogs coming in, BYU coming into the Big 12. So it's cool, but they'll see what we have when we start playing.
I love it, man. Last question I want to ask you was that obviously now you're playing left tackle. How has that change been for you so far? And what position do you think you enjoyed more, playing right tackle or the limited time you spent at left tackle this offseason?
Going to left tackle, there's not really a difference because I was a left tackle growing up. So
Mm-hmm.
right tackle was something different for me, but I could play anywhere. Honestly, if you don't have to throw me at guard or you got to throw me at center, even that, it doesn't. There's no. It just feels it's good because I can play both ways, left or right. It just feels fluid on both sides. So there's not really a difference.
For sure, man. Are you gonna ask your head coach? Last question I want to ask you gonna ask your head coach and see if you can get a little tight end rep like your cousin Panay Sewell did, and maybe get a little touchdown reception in there next year?
We did. We had it all planned for SMU, but we weren't able to throw it in. But it's gonna come in, man. It's gonna come in too.
I love that, man. Listen, man, this is one of the best interviews I've had so far, Kingsley. I really appreciate you taking the time out, man. I'm pumped for you next year, man. I'm really excited.
Thank you. Appreciate it.